Welcome to Fiction Authors Talk Books, or Fat Books Podcast. This episode, I'm talking with the fun-loving Jules and Hunter, who write as Jules Hunter, about the benefits and struggles of co-authoring. I named this podcast Fiction Authors Talk Books because I wanted to incorporate all aspects of being a fiction author in the discussions. Being an author is a stressful job with high expectations from both ourselves and our fans, so this will always be a chill conversation that probably goes off topic most times, but we'll have some fun. If you enjoyed the podcast and would like to see your favorite author on here, send them this link and they can get in touch with us at fatbookspodcast@gmail.com. We take all authors who write fiction and have them published as long as they're polite. Thanks for joining, and on to the podcast.
Good morning.
Hi, I'm Erin.
This is my husband, Hunter.
Good morning.
Now, you're Hunter and Jules, and that's how Jules Hunter became the name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So who decided that? Give me how that came about, I guess. Like, just one day you went, let's be Jules Hunter? Or how? Give me the origin story of your superhero.
Today, let's be Batman. Basically,
We were stuck in a dungeon long ago. And
In a
when we
galaxy far, far away?
Far away, yeah.
That's really funny because my dog's name is Vader. So, he's...
Oh, that's even better.
So there was a dungeon. She had you chained up. Got it.
yes. And as I was whipping him, I decided I wanted to change my
Dear
name
God.
legally.
Oh,
There's a whole awful story behind my real name. My dad named me after his mistress that he was actually with while I was being born. So
Oh.
my name has just always been contentious for me. So I wanted to,
I can't imagine why.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
No, yeah. How many years of therapy did that one take you? Like, Jesus, mother. Yeah.
That's how I'm a writer, because I had no therapy. Writing is my therapy.
Writing is therapy.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
They'd lock me up if I walked into somebody's office and was like, so this is what I'm going through. They'd be like, we need one of those 72-hour holds. So yeah, writing is just
Right?
much safer.
Yes, exactly.
Everybody assumes my crazy's fiction, but yes, oh God. So one day you woke up and wanted to change your name and decided to become an author?
No.
Okay.
Well, for many years since I was a kid, everybody, my family, my friends, everybody said you should be writing. And then I wanted to change my name to Julia McKenzie.
Okay.
From a show I had watched about a fae. I forget the name of the show, but it was a really good show. I said, Jules, let's see. And then Hunter made some comment about something he was going to do sexually to me. And I said, oh, Hunter, there we go. So we became Jules Hunter. So,
Okay, but you're the one who started with the writings and then he joined in?
well, what happened was there's this amazing author. Her name is Lacken Kane. Well, she writes under Lacken Kane. And I was one of her huge fans. Like so huge, I wrote a letter saying goodbye at the end of one of her series, saying goodbye to her character. She actually put it in her book.
I was just going to say that's one of the most adorable things I've ever heard. I would totally love that when I'm done with Artemis and somebody's like, okay, bye, Tamsin. I would eat that up.
That's kind of what I did.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's in one of her books. It's actually in the back of the last Shifters book.
The Shiv Crew. Yeah, it's a Shiv Crew series, and it's a really good series.
That's so G-rated and innocent that I'm tearing up almost. Like, oh my God, that's so adorable. Okay, sorry.
No, actually, she is so good with her melee fight scenes and stuff. But anyway, so I love the characters. I sent it in, and I had already been like, we're coffee buddies, so I send her coffee, different types of coffee, and she's like, with all of the things you've been telling me about your life, you really should write. And so I told Hunter, and he was like, oh, I've been telling you that for years. You're just going to go listen to somebody else, of course.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty standard.
So he said, write.
I was going to say, you sound like every married couple I know. Okay, yeah, go.
Right, exactly. And so he said, then just write. And I said, should I? And he's like, yeah, and I'll write with you. And I was like, well, I'm getting that deal. Okay. Because he's only ever read one book in his life intentionally. So
you tell me it's the Bible, I'm going to be weirded out.
No.
How do you only read one book in your whole life?
I started with the J.R. Tolkien. I read The Hobbit and went through that series.
Uh-huh.
And that was it. That was pretty much it for me. I tried to read some Stephen King. I wasn't really into it. And then my wife, when we'd drive out of state with the kids or go on road trips, she would read Harry Potter books to all of us instead of us listening to music.
Uh-huh.
So I actually listened to more of her reading books to me than I've actually read books myself.
I was going to say, you started with one of the most complex. I'm a complete bibliophile, and I couldn't get through Lord of the Rings because it got so damn drab. Like, that's what you started with, and
Yeah, so
maybe try something a little bit lighter or not so.
I am one of those guys that says, you know what, I'm gonna go try to climb a mountain. Where's Everest? You know, I go after the biggest, baddest, meanest thing right off the rip, just so I can say it's done and I can go on to the next. So that's where I think I'm at. I might have messed up on that situation, but yeah.
I get what you're saying, and that's very not amicable, very not illustrious. What is it like? I was gonna say pretentious, not that either.
They're pretty. No, you're hitting all of them. Go on.
No, I'm really not. I'm trying to say commendable. Oh my God, that was the word I was looking for this Sunday morning. Is that it's very commendable to have like high. You guys are laughing. You just keep laughing. That's fine. It's very commendable to have that kind of viewpoint and like, yes, climb Mount Everest, and if you fall a little bit short, so what? You climbed half of Everest, or that kind of mindset. I totally get that. However, it just doing that sometimes burns you out from all the 14 million other books you might have completely fell in love with instead, because you went for that huge, you know what I'm saying?
And I understand that. In my aspect, I play a lot of RPG role-playing games.
Oh, okay.
So I really get into like Final Fantasy.
You're a D&D dork, basically.
Oh yeah, God, ridiculously. So that's kind of I get a lot of reading in that way.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my wife. Is, you know what, I read plenty of books. It just happens to be on a TV screen.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I love K-dramas, and somebody's like, "Oh, you don't read books anymore," because I never have time. I was telling Jules this. I never have time to read anything but my own edits. But I like K-dramas because it's reading and watching TV at the same time.
I love K-dramas so much. I read and write Hangul, and I'm intermediate with my Korean. So
Oh,
yes,
wow.
girl, I'm about the dramas.
Oh my God. Did you see the Netflix It's Okay to Not Be Okay one?
I have not watched that one yet.
Oh my God, it's about a crazy author. Like every author should be
really?
required. Yeah. Crazy author just being so stereotypical, weird, like eccentric. It's really, I mean, she's got reason to be, in her family situation's completely messed up.
What's that one we're watching?
Memories of Alhambra.
Oh, okay.
No, the new one that we were just watching today, the new second season.
Oh, Alice in Borderland. Yeah.
Glory's a good one too.
I've got that on my TBW as well.
I don't normally get into the ones where it's like the revenge plot, you know, kind of thing. Like, I haven't watched Eve, even though I like that actress. But yeah, Glory was good. It was, I mean, by the time you finally get a chance to watch it, you've already seen like most of the big clips on TikTok or YouTube anyway. So it's like, I kind of ruined it. But that's the beauty of K-drama. Most of them, you don't have to think too hard on.
Yep.
They're just little dramas. Like, it's 16 episodes of binge weekend, and you know, I appreciate that, because that's what I want my books to be. I'm never trying for the great American novel or anything. I just want to give people like a weekend or a night off. So I'm not knocking K-dramas for that. I appreciate that, and I think that's one of the best parts about them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hits all the
Agreed.
feelings that you're looking for, and it makes your reader happy, sad, mad, crying, all at the same time. And that's kind of what the excitement we want our readers to feel, you know? We want them to be so emotional by the time they read the book, they want to throw it and pick it up and love it and hate it all at once.
You want to be burned in effigy and an altar built to you at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
he doesn't want much.
Yeah, just little things like that.
Yeah. You know.
Just paving my road.
I totally get it. If they've not been on a little bit of a roller coaster, you've not done your job, because I like the books where you know exactly kind of what you're getting. Like, you know, it's going to be an easier one. You know, nobody's mom's dying or anything like that will trigger too much. I like those books too. But yeah, I'm more, if I don't make you go through like the whole wheel of grief and emotional instability at some point in time, like, I don't think I hit the range that most readers kind of want to get out of the bang for their buck, basically. Because, I mean, there's tons of us that they could read. So it's not catering, because I write the books that I want to read, but I want to go on a journey too. If it doesn't take me on a journey to write it, I can't expect the readers to go on a journey reading it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So you just listened to your friend instead of your husband and decided to start writing one day, and he decided to join you. So how does that work? You're laughing, but it's kind of the concise way of what you said, right? Like,
You're hitting the nail on the head. You're saying it a lot better than we ever could.
I'm Chicago blunt. Love it or not, I'm originally from Chicago, and I've had so many people be like, wow, you're really blunt. I'm like, your time is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
I respect it enough to not waste it. Like that's how Chicagoans are. So
Ooh, I love that.
it's it's not for everyone, but neither am I. I'm an acquired taste. Oh, sorry.
I don't know. I feel like the moment I met you, you have put me at ease. You are so kind, and I love Blunt. It's
Yeah,
just,
my taste buds are on fire.
Oh,
your taste buds are
like
boy.
that just made me tingle in a weird way, but okay. I'm glad your taste buds are on fire. Better than coffee. I'm better than coffee at 5 o'clock your time.
Hey, we haven't even had coffee yet, so yeah. So
I did not do the math. I'm so sorry. I thought you guys were on the East Coast.
no. Actually, I just felt like you guys were so accommodating doing this with us on the weekend,
Oh
that
no, that's totally
the time
fine.
didn't matter.
We had to
Yeah.
do 9 o'clock recording with somebody because of Australian time or something, and that one too. We were both like, no, we'll make
Never
them get up.
again.
Yeah, no, we'll get up earlier. But well, this is our first threesome for the podcast, and yes, I said that way intentionally for funsies.
Oh yeah.
That alone was interesting enough. I'm like, oh, I'm being double teamed here. I don't know what to do.
Sit
Okay.
back and enjoy it, babe.
Yeah. Oh, dirty girl. Okay, so you dragged him along, and how did the first ones? I've never met a husband wife writing combo, so give me the origin story. I keep saying that for some reason, like you are superheroes, but I think it's super. Then okay, so you had a story idea already, or just you decided to go for it and then came up? Like, walk me through it.
Yeah, well, basically, since I was told, you should write what has gone on in your life, we just took one of the situations in my life that had to do with revenge and made a revenge book. It was, yeah. Every one of our books by Jules Hunter, and actually even by M.K. Savage, every one of those books have part of my actual life in it.
Yeah, and then like I said earlier, I play a lot of video games, so I do a lot of role playing. I love RPG games, so I
Mhm.
like to get into character form.
Mhm.
And so we just started talking about a book idea, and I started talking like one of the characters and said, well, the character would act this way. And I just kind of started picking him up and
Mhm.
started kind of acting that way. And my wife started freaking out, and she was
I was
like,
like, I
oh my
fucking,
God.
yeah, it was like that.
So she started writing it all down, and we spent that night probably working till about 2 o'clock in the morning, just putting pen to paper on every idea that was just coming through our head.
Yeah.
Okay, and then worked on it to make like an actual outline that made sense, and
So that's where
some kind of arc.
that's where Jules comes into place. So I give her a lot of this jumble. Imagine me just giving her a million words, and she takes it all in and builds this beautiful book. So I give her the ideas. I break down each character. I will give them story plots. I'll give them the line ideas, and then she takes all the information and runs it through her head and builds the book how it's supposed to be.
So then we sit and we do intensive outlining. Like
Okay.
we'll outline every part of it.
Oh, somebody after my own heart. We keep having pantsers on here, and I'm like, am I the only one who's still the outline?
Nope. We
Oh
have
God,
we have
no.
to outline because we have an electronics recycling company. And so he let me quit so I could stay home and write. And he goes to work, but I have to be writing. So we have to outline it so intensely that it's like he's here with me when I write it. So
Cool.
that's kind of our process. We do an intensive outline. We have an app called Plotter that we just love, and we plot on that. We set everything up, we outline everything, and then when he goes to work the next day, I sit there and type it all up. And then he comes home and I read it out loud, and he's like, "You said I 3 times in a row. That sounds robotic. I'd never do that." And I'm like, "Oh, wow." I feel like I'm kind of getting trashed, but not really. You know what I mean? Like, your writing sucks, Jules.
Yeah. Well, that's just editing. That's just dealing with any set of edits at all, because no matter how great, I mean, I love my editor, she's fantastic. No matter how great the editor, it's not fun to have a 90,000 word book where it's just read from all of your mistakes. I mean, that's not fun, no matter so. Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm always cranky pants when it's edits time. So I think that's every author. No author goes, "Ooh, edit." Like, not
No.
unless they're psychotic, or just sadists, whatever, like, or masochists, whatever. You gotta be a little weird to be like, "Ooh, edit."
Right, exactly. And you know what's so funny is I tell my editor, I can't believe I pay you for this shit. I
Yeah.
pay you to tell me everything I'm doing wrong. This is crazy. I'd rather buy shoes.
Yeah, it's more like just self-affliction. Just like to beat yourself up, so you want to
Yeah.
hear somebody else tear you up too.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not enough of that in the world. We have to, get more of that somehow.
Yep. So then basically, he tells me how awful everything is and then tells me, well, let's fix this, let's change this. And then we do. And then we send it to our alphas and then they tell us where our plot holes are. And,
Mhm.
like, did you really think that you were going to get away with writing that crap? Change this.
Yeah. Do you really think
Nice.
people can bend that way? There's no possible way.
So actually, the first time somebody said that to us, we were like, oh, yeah, huh? So then we decided to,
Go try it.
yeah. So
And we proved we couldn't do it.
we couldn't do it. Couldn't move that way. So basically,
Or I just always suggest Pornhub, but that's cool too.
I live on, okay, so that's another problem we have. I live on Pornhub at least once a day, and I keep getting viruses. I kept getting viruses in my laptop. So,
Mhm. So yeah, that's kind of how we do our process. We really just try to maneuver that aspect and then continue to work the book and work the book and work the book until it feels like good recipe, and then we throw it out for dinner.
yeah, kind of like on the menu.
Yeah.
It's so bloody and awful by the time
Yeah.
we're done.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's funny.
I'm working really hard to make Hunter my trophy husband.
Aw,
That's my goal.
fair enough.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, any way I can get it done, I'm getting it done. I don't know. It's weird. We've been together 23 years now, married for 20 this year.
Mhm.
And he's the only guy in my life ever that I just want to be around all the time.
Aw.
So making him my trophy husband is kind of like my dream, just to be able to
Yeah,
be with
I've
him.
got her trained, and she's really like psychology, really.
Got her trained.
Yeah, she knows exactly how to
You're
say it.
sleeping on the floor tonight after that shit. You got her.
Oh yeah,
trained.
probably.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, you sleeping on the
No, he'll just buy me stuff. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Shoes. Seriously, he started off as my book boyfriend. Readers, we all read voraciously. That's why I don't understand writers not lifting each other up and having each other's back all the time, because there are so many readers out there. There could be there are millions of writers and there still won't be enough, right? There's never enough books to read.
Right.
When we were first dating, he got into the habit of, on his way home, he'd stop at the bookstore and grab me a couple books.
Aw.
And then I started talking about book boyfriend. He's like, what's a book boyfriend? And I was like, well, I really like the alpha holes in these books. And I don't know, it's just super hot. It would be great to have a boyfriend like that. I just don't know if I could really like one in reality. And he's like, well, let me read about these book boyfriends. So I just kind of read out loud a couple of them to him. And he's like, wait a minute, that's kind of me. And I was like, oh yeah, it is kind of you. So then he kind of stepped up his game,
Oh dear.
being a book boyfriend. I won't go into details. And
Yeah, no, but you use the term a bit differently than the actual definition. So, book boyfriend is a fictional character. So,
right.
I'm like, he became your book boyfriend. We're gonna need to be in a padded room soon because I don't know how that works otherwise. Like, he's not.
Well,
I
he
do
became
have
my IRL
well,
book
I
boyfriend.
do have many personalities, so
Oh
it does
dear
play into
God.
my favor.
Yeah, he's like the female version of Sybil. I mean, the male version of Sybil.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
Yep.
it does.
Sybil.
So,
No, who's Sybil? I'm sorry.
oh, Sybil is an old movie. I'm dating myself
Ah.
here, of a woman with multiple personalities.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, boyfriend to real boyfriend, and Pinocchio's kind of jealous for your origin story, I guess.
I'm a real boy.
Oh, oh, that just got creepy. I'm a real boy.
Right.
Oh, it's gonna get a lot of things today. I'm sorry. It's 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's. Oh.
It's actually almost 5:30, so
5:30
we
now.
can't keep saying that anymore. We have to have our shit together here.
Oh yeah, no, because 5:30
yeah.
made all the difference. Hell, it's 8:30 here, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
totally.
we're going back to bed. That's the process. That's how you. So I just got super nervous when you were telling me this. Obviously, you guys are a loving couple, and you're not worried about stuffs. But I've been on the other side. It's funny that we're doing this because I'm very blunt to people to say never co-author.
Wow.
You guys are a different story. Now, I started out co-authoring, and no shade on Stormy. Stormy Glenn is one of the nicest people you will ever meet. Not to be the cliche, but she would absolutely give the shirt to somebody off their back if they needed it and be like, whatever, it's fine. I can get another shirt.
Aw.
I adore her. We don't really stay in contact, but if she called me tomorrow and said, I need you, I would hop on a plane. So it's not about her. It was super fun coming up with the ideas and everything, but she writes third person, and I forced myself to do that just to write with her. And I hate writing in third person. It was like pulling teeth for me. It was great. That's how I got started. She gave me a chance, but it's the difference of you have to be very, very in sync with somebody to co-author. I mean, clearly you guys share a bed. That's a whole different story. And I was wondering like how you did it if different chapters, but one of you is more developmental editor and the back end editor versus the actual writers. That's not typical for most co-authoring. Like we used to do a chapter switched off, and that would be like our pre-editing beforehand and everything else. So you guys are all around.
Oh God. If she had to do that, she'd spend days trying to edit anything I wrote because I am the worst writer ever. She wouldn't even understand what half the stuff meant because I don't. I have a slight form of dyslexic, so I read stuff backwards and upside down. So it's really hard just understanding my notes.
Oh,
Imagine me trying to write a chapter would be horrific.
yeah, so you guys have a very different process than most do when they're co-authoring. It's very complicated on the other end. I mean, when you co-author with somebody, it's the rights, the contracts, the everything else. So that's why I don't recommend it, because Stormy would never have taken anything from me, but I've heard horror stories of established authors getting these great new ideas from people who want to break into the business and running with them without the person. I just didn't want you guys to hear later that like, wow, Aaron is always recommending not to co-author. Why did you guys go on that podcast?
We will not hold you accountable for it, but the way we look at it is a little bit different, because when you do co-authoring, you do have to give up a lot of your story as well, because the story you might be going in one direction and your partner might be wanting to go a different direction.
Exactly.
So a lot of times too, and this just happens many times, is I'll come up with an idea and I'll break it down for her, and when I leave the house, it was a great idea. But when I come home and I read the book, the chapter is completely different, but the idea is in it, but it's now done in a different way that I never would have thought of. And I was like, wow, okay. I got to take a back seat because maybe my creative idea wasn't there, but what you did with it was amazing.
Yeah.
So it is a lot of give and take.
Yeah.
And I think with us being in a relationship, especially in a marriage for so long, is we've got into our rhythm as far as what we like, what we want to put our foot down for, and what we're able to concede. And we have a good momentum. And like you said earlier, we don't recommend co-authoring for everybody as well, because it is a lot of working side by side. And even whenever you think you have the best idea, being told, no, it doesn't work, you've got to be able to take it and move on.
Oh yeah, that's a very contentious position. You can put strain on any kind of friendship, relationship, any of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you guys have been married for a while and you got into this together. You're a writing duo, but I think it is something that needs to be mentioned that this isn't typical. Authors have to be very careful to protect themselves.
Oh, 100%. And see, this is the business aspect. We own an electronic recycling company together.
Right.
We have worked together as far as our company and building that brand and making sure that company moves forward. And so when we jumped into this aspect, it was just moving into our next phase. So for us, it was a little bit different than everybody else, but I too 100% agree that. And I always recommend, even with us, we put contracts into place so that this way we both understand where we're at.
Well, here's the thing. We're not typical. Say we ever did divorce for whatever reason. We both give 100% of ourselves to the writing.
Right.
So if we did have to split it, we both would absolutely deserve that. And to be really honest, I have put myself in a position where, because I had been cheated on so many times in the past, Hunter could never, ever cheat on me.
Yeah.
Not that he morally couldn't cheat on me, but I have set our relationship up. So there's no way Hunter could ever cheat on me.
And luckily for us, and I think because that's why we fell in love with each other, we both have understanding of humanity and understanding that we're not vindictive people. We're not, even as if our feelings get hurt and malicious, we will get mad. We will get mad and might say some shit, but
Yeah.
for the most part, you know what I mean? We're humans and we got to live with each other no matter what.
Yeah, no, I get very flustered when I bring up difficult topics because, hi, like I'm not an interviewer. This is just a conversation. It's kind of hard to walk into a situation and be like, well, yeah, you guys did this really well. You're successful with it. I'm glad it's working out. However, I think it's important to always warn on the dark side of stuff. People think being an author is all this bright and shiny thing, and especially if we write romance, writing with your husband could be somebody's like, oh my God, that's my happily ever after. And I've been on the side of watching friends just get destroyed because of the adulting, the reality of it. You guys are the 1% of 1% where this works out well. And I just think it's always responsible to bring up the fact that that's not normal. That's not what most authors should try for.
Yep, you're right.
I mean, I'm the same way about my kind of stuff and like jumping into this and that. And I warn people, like I've been interviewed and people be like, okay, so what do you recommend for authors? And I'm like, don't become one. Like you were saying earlier, we should support each other. There's enough readers for everyone. We don't need to be competitive. I've had people be like, well, somebody doesn't want to like share her market and and it's like, it's not about that. There are enough authors and I'm not hostile towards other authors who do better than me or, not as whatever. It is what it is. You're asking for my opinion and I'm not going to lie. I've had a stalker. I've had to have arrested. I've had a different stalker, and it's not an easy job. I have to lie about what I do, which makes it hard to form friendships because people be crazy. I wish I knew more before I got into it. I still would have because I, am crazy and I need to get the writings out of my head and everything like that. But unless you have some clawing need, like I tell people, like unless you're just dying, like to get your characters out to like, this is not a job for everyone and it's not a happily ever after for a lot of people. So yeah, that's just where I am, where I'd rather be honest. I'd hate for somebody to ever be like, oh my God, you made this sound so good. You made this like this fairy tale and it's horrible. It's like, yeah, that's real life. Like,
That's right.
Well,
And fairy
God,
tales are
yeah.
horrible when you think about
Yeah.
it. I mean, they really are. So this kind of is a fairy tale. It's just
Yeah.
not a morbid, dark, awful one. We did get lucky. That's kind of why our strapline for Jules Hunter is written in the stars,
Aw,
because
I
we
like that.
truly, honestly believe we are soulmates. We belong together. It's nobody in this world can handle me, but Hunter can.
Like,
but on the other hand, I do see your point when you're trying to just
Absolutely.
say, listen, to your readers, especially we have people that are possibly listening that want to become up and coming authors, people that are reading that maybe thought about writing a book, and they need to understand as well, listen, you need to protect yourself in this
Yeah.
industry. There are a lot of people out here. I mean, even us, we've had people, oh, we're going to promote your book. We want you to be your PA. We're going to, and we're like, hey, you do a good job. We'll pay you good money. We'll make it happen. And then, we find out 6 months later, nothing's
Yep.
happened. So, I mean, it happens to everybody. There are more bad stories in this industry than there is good stories. But the thing is when you have to get your story out, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that's where it's at. It's like, well, when you get to the point where it's like this, even if you have to deal with all of this and working 14 hours a day, because a lot of people don't understand that authors, man, especially self-publishing authors, they work 14 hours a day. Yep. 7 days a week. There are no days. I mean, we get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to advertise, and we'll probably be working till 10 o'clock at night because that's just what we do. You want your book to be successful. You want your characters to get out there and meet the world, So you try to push them to do that.
I want to give a big thanks to Jules Hunter for joining me for such a fun conversation. Also, to all of our fans for checking this podcast out. I hope you liked what you heard and decide to stick around. Please make sure to subscribe to the Fat Books podcast on YouTube or Spotify, or that little purple icon on your Apple device. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook to stay up to date on who we're recording with and when episodes are coming out. There's also a Patreon if you want to support the podcast and keep it going. Now let's hear a bit about what they're working on and what to look forward to from them next.
Okay, basically we have a social media hop coming up, just multiple authors, and you're going to get a chance to see every author who joins, what they've got coming up, what they've already got online. We've recently added a pen name, MK Savage, and we have our first urban fantasy Why Choose coming out pretty soon.
To the end of the year?
Yeah, probably in August it'll be coming out. It's our first shifter Wolf Shifter book, and it's a Rejected Mates. So we're pretty excited about that. We've got a series we're finishing. We have our Animus series, Deceived is out, and we've got Erased, Ambushed, and Shattered to finish up that series coming out this year. And we're doing our first book signing.
Woohoo!
We're going to be at 20 Books Vegas at their rave signing November 10th. So if anybody's around,
What is that?
20 books to 50K. It's a conference for indie writers. It's amazing. You make connections, you network. Amazon is there, Booksprout's there.
About 3,000 to 5,000 people.
Yeah, 3,000 to 5,000 people with hundreds of vendors. It's amazing. It's a week-long conference, and we have made lifetime friends from it.
On Friday, you can get a table, and all the authors get tables, and you lay your books out. They open up the conference for everybody to come in and purchase books and to sign and to meet your favorite authors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're pretty excited about that.
Thanks for staying until the end and hope you enjoyed it.